So we're now in September 2025, and we still don't have a confirmed title contender for VOLK right now. Yeah, it's a bit of a logjam right now in the featherweight division. VOLK has hinted to Evloev, which is actually a good fight. He has hinted to Yair as well, which we do not want. We hate to see that. Anyways, right now, I'm just gonna be going through making a video just to have a system as to see who is the next title contender, who is the best, most worthy fighter for VOLK, and just quickly go over it. So there's Murphy, Mosbar, Sterling, Lopez, and Yair. You're gonna see the score on the right side. They're all 0 right now. But I'm gonna be ranking each column 1 through 5 for each fighter. I have 6 columns in total, so you're only gonna be seeing 3. I got 3 more after this, and yeah, let's just quickly go over it. 0 is gonna be you got dominated. 5 is you dominated your performance, and for that I'm gonna be giving Sterling a 5. Great performance over Aaron Pico. He dominated him. He did get taken down by Aaron Pico, but he was able to get back up and finish them with an amazing spinning back elbow. You cannot ask for anything more than that. That type of performance, it was amazing. So I'm gonna be giving him a 5. Most of our last performance, I'm gonna be giving him a 4. It was a great back and forth against Aljamain Sterling. A great grappling show for the fans. If you're casual or not, Hamza, take notes. But yeah, he did win. It wasn't a finish. But they were taking position. They were trying to take positions. They were reversal. It was great. It was a great overall performance. So if he can replicate that against VOLK, that would be another great fight. So yeah. So I'm gonna be giving him a 4. Sterling, I'm gonna be giving him a 2. It was let's be honest, it wasn't a great performance against Ortega. He did just cruise through that fight. He didn't really want to initiate with the grappling. He was being a little bit cautious against Ortega's grappling. So he did use his lighter man speed against Ortega and just cruise through a finish. So I'm gonna give him a 2. Not too horrible performance, but he could have done better for the fans. Okay, I'm gonna be giving Lopez a 5. Just the same way as Murphy, he dominated his opponent. He dropped he got Silva on the ground. He took him down and then cut him open. He just dominated him in the first round. Second round came. It was more competitive. John Silva was landing more and kind of was beating up Lopez, but Lopez was able to take all the hits and drop Silva with another spinning back elbow. Great finish, and I'm gonna have to give that a 5. Yair, I'm gonna give it a 2. Very similar to Sterling versus Ortega. There was just a very boring point striking match, decision win, cruising through a finish. Cruising to a win, and nothing great against. He didn't really do anything crazy against Pitbull, so I'm giving him a 2. For notable wins, let's be honest, Lerone Murphy still has 0 notable wins. The Emmett fight, Aaron Pico is still pretty new in the UFC. He hasn't proved to himself anything as a big name. And yeah, I'm gonna give him 0. I'm gonna be giving Mosbar a 2 because he did beat Aljamain Sterling and he did beat Diego Lopez. 2 of the 2 guys right now that you're seeing on your screen. So they're just pretty good. I'm gonna be giving him 2. I'm gonna be giving Aljamain Sterling a 5 because he did beat Brian Ortega, he beat Henry Cejudo, he beat TJ Dillashaw, he beat Peter Yan. So those are 5 names that are pretty good. So I'm gonna be giving him 5 for the max. Oh wait, I didn't put it on yet. Max number. So those are pretty good. Diego Lopez, I'm gonna give him 2. Brian Ortega and John Silva. John Silva, let's be honest, if John Silva didn't get dropped by the spinning elbow, he could have built himself back into the fight, and because he was literally beating up Diego Lopez. But like I said, I think John Silva is the actual monster at featherweight. So I'm gonna be giving him Diego Lopez that one. So I'm gonna be giving him 2. And Yair, I'm gonna be giving him 2. He did beat Ortega, which technically he didn't really beat him. And who else did he beat that? So he beat Ortega and Pitbull, so I'm gonna be counting those wins, giving him 2 points. But he's at last, so don't worry. And for activity, it's basically I'm gonna be giving 5 if you fight 4 times a year, and 0 if you skip a year. So kind of if you fight 3 times, I'm gonna be giving you a 4. If you fight 2 times a year, I'm gonna give you 2, and etc. Murphy a 3. He does only fight 2 times a year, so it makes sense for me to give him a 2. Mosbar only fights 1 time a year, so I'm gonna be giving a 1. Aljamain, he also fights around 2 times a year, so I'm gonna be giving him 3. Lopez, he fought 3 times a year. So I'm gonna be giving him a 4. Like I said, if you fight 4 times a year, you're gonna be getting a 5. And Yair, he fought like also like once a year basically. So I'm gonna be giving him 1. So you can see the total score: 8, 7, 10, 11, 5 for the first 3 columns. And yeah, next winning streak. Basically, if you're undefeated, you get a 5. If you lost your last fight, you're gonna be getting a 0. So undefeated fighter, 5, easy. Mosvar, undefeated fighter, 5, easy. Aljamain did lose his last fight against Mosvar and then beat Ortega, so he's gonna be getting a 1. Diego Lopez lost against the champ, and then he beat on John Silva, and so that's 1. Yair lost to, who did he lose to? He lost to Ortega, and then he beat Pitbull, so that's a 1. Hype. This is gonna be kind of like a very opinionated type of rating, but I do think I have a good sense of what the casuals or like the overall fan base deems as hype. So just don't get too angry if you think I'm incorrect on these ratings. I'm giving Murphy a 2. Originally, before the Aaron Pico fight, I would have given him a 0, but because that was a great finish against Aaron Pico, and Aaron Pico kind of is a name within the hardcore fan base, I would bump him up to a 2, just to be fair. I wouldn't give him a 3 at all. I still think he's very. I mean, him as a personality and him as his fight style before the Aaron Pico fight, both of those two were so boring. So that's why I was gonna give him a 0. But this Aaron Pico fight bumped it up to a 2. So Mosvar, I'm gonna give him a 1. He is unactive, the same type of personality as Murphy, and he has a very boring fight style. So because he didn't have a finish in his last fight, I'm gonna be giving him a 1, and that's about it. Aljamain Sterling, he would have been like a 2 to 3 as well, but mainly because he was hated. But people are starting to come around Aljamain, starting to start root for him for a title fight. And yeah, I still think that a lot of people still don't like Aljamain, and so I'm gonna be giving him a 3. He is a champ, so those are extra points for him. He was a champ. He did defend his belt, and he does have pretty good wins over known fighters. So I think it makes sense for me to give him a 3 for hype. Diego Lopez 4, he's always been a fan favorite. He's always been liked, but he's not really a superstar. He's not an Ilya. He's not an Alex Pereira. So for that reason, I'm gonna give him a 4. Even though it was a crazy finish over John Silva. I don't think he's a 5 yet. He could be a 5 in the future, but for right now he's a 4. Especially because he lost to VOLK. If he beat VOLK and was champ, probably he could be in a 5. But for right now he's a 4. And Yair, he is a 1. He is same type of way I think people really hate Yair right now. They hate him because he didn't want to take the Diego Lopez fight, and there's just nobody's really behind Yair right now except for the Mexican fan base. Aside from that, nobody's really going for VOLK right now. Not for the last part. That hype matchup basically means you as an individual fighter, you could be pretty boring, but if you put 2 fighters together, it could create a good fight. Let's say for example, Hill versus Roundtree. Both of those fighters aren't really they're not really hype, but that matchup was pretty hype because it was people were excited to see for that fight, and etc. There's also other fights like that. So just for your understanding, a 0 would be like nobody really cares about the fight, and a 5 is like there's one of the biggest fights of the year. So for that, I'm gonna be giving Sterling a 3. Let's be honest, it is a VOLK versus an undefeated fighter. Let's see if VOLK can take undefeated fighter prospect 0. But like I said, I do think that Sterling still isn't very hype himself. So for that reason, it's gonna be a 3. Like I think it's pretty exciting, but not exciting can't wait for it, like staying up at night just waiting, like counting your days for this title fight. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure people are gonna be like, oh, this is a good fight to watch when it comes around. But for right now, I don't think it's a hype. I think Sterling needs one more fight, and maybe that becomes a really big fight. But right now, I'm gonna give it a 3. Mosvar, I would say that was pretty high because he is I don't know if he's Dagestani, but he is from that area type of style of fighter. He is a mountain Russian Muslim grappler, and it is an exciting undefeated fighter for VOLK to see how he does against this type of style of fighter. you always want to know if the fighter you like can do good against a Dagestani, and this is a good, exciting matchup for Volk because it is pretty winnable for Volk as well. So it is going to be exciting. It's not going to be like, oh, Evlov is going to destroy Volk. Why do we even bother watching this? So that's why I think, this is going to be pretty exciting, more exciting than Volk versus Sterling. So I'm going to give it a 4. For Sterling, I'm going to be giving him a 3. This is champ versus champ, but both are pretty, out of their primes for each fighter. Volk is now 36. Aljamain is 37, around there, and it is pretty exciting. But I want to say right now, it's super exciting. I think, like I said, the same way as Murphy, he needs one more win to hold his ground in the featherweight division and say, I am the next one up, and the fans can be really excited for this matchup. But for right now, Sterling, I would give it a 3 because it is a champ versus champ, but it would have been more exciting if this looked like a couple years ago where Aljamain was still champ. He both were much younger, and he went up and fought Volk, but that didn't happen. But yeah, it's still exciting, but it's not as exciting. It's kind of like Yuri versus Hell right now, like this year. Instead of, it could have been more exciting a couple years ago when they were at their prime. Both were champ technically, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3. Diego Lopez versus Volk. There's reasonably a 1. We just saw this fight against Volk. We don't want to see an immediate rematch, and I don't think people really want to see, like I said, an immediate rematch. So it's gonna be a 1. Just very simple. This is also another rematch, Yair versus Volk. I think people really hate to watch this fight. I don't think nobody in the world would care about seeing this rematch. Even Mexicans, I highly doubt they care. I'm gonna be giving him a 0. Undeserved, especially because people are not gonna be getting behind this fight at all. So yeah, very undeserved. 0 makes sense. Fight Diego Lopez instead. So yeah, as you can see the score at the very end at the right side, 18, 17, 17, 17, 7. So technically, Murphy, I would prefer Mosvar, but Murphy, from the system I created, he should be the deserving contender for Volk next. So there you go. There you have it. Murphy by Volk, probably beginning of next year. Would prefer December, but whatever. As you can see, Mosvar, Sterling, and Diego Lopez are tied. Interestingly enough, but yeah. So yeah, there you go. Volk versus Murphy. Book it. There's the math, I guess. So yeah. If you disagree, if you want someone else to fight Volk, tell me. But yeah, put it down in the comments below. And yeah, hope you guys have a good day and goodbye.